Good morning, and good morning. And you know it's 9 o'clock, so here comes the sun. I see it on my face right now. Good morning. How are you? I put the light on because it was so dark, but all of a sudden the sun is coming through the trees. So, anyway, how was your Saturday, Sunday, Monday? You heard what mine was like. Trouble getting in on Monday. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my computer decided it was not going to be kind. And it kept making me go out, reboot, whole bunch of crazy stuff. And finally, by the time I got it to work, um, 35, 40 minutes had passed. And so I said, we might as well just save this word until Wednesday. But I'm going to try to cover up that light because it's bothering me. So hold on one second. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it. Let's see. You after a while you're an artiste. It's crazy. But I don't have any other way of doing it. I think I made it. I think I got it to work. Okay, I'm back. Good, nobody's in yet. Good, they didn't see me do my little blundering. But anyway, today's word is destitute. Destitute. It's an interesting word because many of us have a lot of stuff around that we no longer need. But at the time when they were invented, everybody needed them. The microwave we still use, but a lot of people choose air fryers, more so than the microwave. The DVR, now it's streaming, but it was DVDs, it was tapes. When you think, where we have been with generations of inventions, we realize that so many things have changed in terms of how we deal with our old things, and some people are a collector of old things. A lot of times we're almost intimidated to get rid of old things because we think that there's a possibility that someone will reinvent the need and use of old things that we have. Most of the time that's not the case. Most of the time we hold on to stuff for sentimental reasons. The reasoning is not the right reasoning, but we're attached emotionally to things, and I can attest to this. When my mother passed, by this time all of her children, because my mother lived until her mid-90s, all of her children were grown. All of her children were either married or out living life to the fullest. So they already had homes, they already had, or places to stay. Not everybody rented, not everybody owned. Many of them rented. And they already had things that said that life was pleasant. It was comfortable. And I'm trying to give things away, throw things away, give them away. And I still had things where everybody kept saying, well, don't give that away. Hold on to that. You're going to need that. And I'm emotional because it's my mom, and I kept a lot of stuff. But let me tell you, when I woke up one day and it was 9.5 years that the stuff was still in storage, that's when I said, that's ridiculous. And over those 9 years, I had paid out, I think, close to $10,000 to still have ownership. Well, since then, I stopped all of that, which was a long time ago. Stopped it, got rid of it, sold it, gave it away. After a while, you have to mature in what it is who you are without items, without stuff. I even look around my house now, and even though I've gotten rid of stuff, I still have more stuff to give. Now I bring in less stuff. I'm going to be honest. I definitely bring in less stuff than what I used to do. But nonetheless, I'm just so used to just, living life on newer terms or different terms. And so I'm having some good times and some interesting times on who to give things to. I just sent off a box to my cousin who knew I knew she would love those kinds of things that my mother loved. You cannot get me to wear fur or any of that. It just makes my skin crawl. So, I was happy with those kind of things. But for other people, they love it. They love the connection. They love the era that it came about in. And there's always a restyling. Everybody's always going to come. Styling comes back around. So what was cool in the 40s becomes cool in the 90s, and maybe becomes cool again in the 2030s. So it is what it is. It is what it is. That's how we live our lives, of just understanding that stuff is just stuff, but the essence of who we are is who we are. So our word today is destitute. Not destitute, not being, but destitute. And it says new things turned obsolete very soon. How about that? How many of us have so many of the latest gadgets? A couple of years ago, I bought a Rollright, you know, and then I found out that the Rollright wasn't as up to date or as current as some of the other writers, where you could write on a tablet that looks like you're writing out, and everything would be converted to your computer. What I learned is that what happens with that is that it doesn't work like that. Because if you go over a page and you didn't save and upload the page you were on, then it made it where your data was lost. So, or it ends up that you have to go back and try to remember all the things you're writing down in the first place. So that's sitting over here, and as a person who was taking notes when I'm interviewing people and doing that kind of stuff, it just made sense that I had it. But then I made that one mistake one time where had too much and went over to turn to a next page, and it didn't capture the page that I already had, because I wasn't near my computer, nor was my computer open. That's what happens to us when we realize that technology it's in the moment, it's in the period. But once it's gone, you have to realize that you may have to update or just give up being able to work in that realm. So for me, that's what happened. But this poem is by Sylvia Francis Chan, and it was written in May of 19. But I think it's really interesting because it says, new things turn very obsolete soon. Just like all other new things, they change over time. Our hearts perish. Nothing is as changeable as the world itself. First a sea of flowers, now a rotten flower stench, old people imprisoned and plugged into retirement homes as you thank for their perfect upbringing and the caring, loving years. With new shoes, we first walk in blisters. Gather the right advice and wisdom through our dear parenting, to be told that they are just hiding old people in old people's homes. They still have to explain to me. It says, till the smallest details notes, who had done that? It says, they're still from my own year's age. Shameful. I hope that's not true. Well, eventually everything that we have and hold on to will become obsolete, just like we will. We will eventually become obsolete. We will become less in tune with the world, because the world that we were really much a part of starts evolving into a new world and into a new place going forward. So it's always to me important to stay, as much as I can on what's going on now, so I stay current. It doesn't mean that I'm, as fast as doing it or understand every aspect of it, but I make myself available to work through some of the details, to know something. That's what I do. So anyway, let's get into our word, destitute, destitute. And it says, as in a, these are some of the things that he talks about, as in neglect or lack of dis, undis, despite the long years of destitute, the old manual typewriter. How many of you still have an old manual typewriter, either from your parents or from yourself? You know, I was looking in my closet the other day, and up on the top shelf is an old manual typewriter. Actually, it was electric. It was electric, but it's a typewriter, you know. So I don't use it. You know, the computer is much more beneficial to me than a typewriter because this one is connected electronically to my printer, to the fax and all that other stuff. So that would be crazy for me to do that. But it says, however, if you look at it, it says lack of use. Despite the long years of it being destitute, we still hold on to it, do we not? Yes, we do. We still hold on to it. It says, and then we see it seems to work just fine. However, our neglect or disuse or abandonment or inactivity makes it where we need to throw it away, give it away, send it to a museum, send it to someone who collects that kind of stuff. Okay. And I know that later on in life, you know, somebody thinks that they're holding on to, you know, an heirloom that will end up being $500,000. Most of us will not. We will not fall into that category. It will not be seen. It will not be understood. I see people in, but I don't see anybody over on the side, so I don't know what's happening with. Oh, there you go, Joan. There you go. I see people there, but okay. But anyway, good morning, Joan. How are you? We're talking about destitute, and destitute really speaks to our neglect of stuff, our no longer fooling with stuff. It says it has idleness. How many of us have things that we become idle? Good morning, Ardelia. And good morning, Erica. Hey, Erica, too. Good. You got away. So when in our destitute, it says it doesn't matter. For those of us that are online or maybe a little bit younger, do you still have a pair of shoes of your daughters or sons? I was going to go get them, you know, where they put them in the cement and then they put that bronzing on them and all that. Ask me, did I do it? No. No. So I have two pair. I have them sitting on my shelf in my bedroom. I laugh at it. But once again, we are just people that the memories are held in the items. We hold them in the items. We keep them there. We think that that's smart. You know, we see it as being necessary. But is it? No, no, it really isn't. So when we talk about this thing of destitute, we talk about our neglect, our disuse, our abandonment. Let's face it, we are going to abandon anything when something else new comes along. Okay. I think before some of you came in, I talked about the fact that we went through all these phases of audio stuff, you know, be it or visual, be it you know, I think when I was real little, they had that thing called the Viewmaster, you know, where you click it. And they still make it. So, you know, and I know it's out there, and some parents have liked the fact that they have things that are manual that their children know how to manipulate. But I had that, you know. I remember, you know, the my dad playing 8-track tapes. I was a real little kid with that one. Okay, I remember that. And then they went to a cassette tape. And what have we? Oh, and listen, you can't find CDs anymore. They stopped making them. In fact, Best Buy announced, I think last year, that they were going to stop selling tapes, you know, CDs. Okay, so everything has gone to streaming. So if we watch a while, eventually we have a house full of unused stuff. Okay, just unused. And it says we are more alike than we are different. Absolutely. Doing well. Thank you. Good, everybody. Listen. How many of you have things that you know you need to get rid of? Like both hands. I know. Good morning, Maurice. We know it. We need to get rid of some stuff. Okay. But we hold onto it for sentimental reasons. So then, once we leave here, because all of us are going to leave, somebody is and burdened with the task of getting rid of everything or finding places for everything. So it's an interesting concept of understanding what I might need to deal with getting way of now than waiting till later on. Is my picture real dark to you all? Say yes or no. It looks dark to me. And it may just be that I have that overhead light on because outside is. Let me see if I turn the light off, if that'll change. Hold on one second. That may be a little bit better. Thank you. That may be better. The light was causing some kind of craziness. But anyway, we realize that inactivity, latency, basically, dormancy, everything's falling around. Dormancy and everything are causing issues. This light all of a sudden has come up one more time. This is it. This is it for me. Let me see if I can do it this way. All right. I think I got it this time. Lord, what I do, what I go through just to make sure I get a word out for the day. But anyway, as we move on in this word of destitute really talks about the fact that lack of use, we're no longer using it. We're not going to use it. We've made up in our mind that we don't need it. Or kind of the new things that told us that we don't need the old stuff. And eventually what happens when we get a computer? The computer works fine 2 years. The watch works fine. The phone works fine, the cell phone. They work fine for 2 years. And then all of a sudden, they become less performing, less useful, eventually in a drawer or returned for the upgrade. That's what we do. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Okay, effective, declare. Yes, that's right. That those are true words. So when we look at disuse is my first word. I said that's the state of not being used. We're just going to stop using stuff. Period. We don't want it. We don't care about it. It's lost. It's even sometimes the things that I've gotten so excited about getting, once I get it, the excitement fades. It just does. All of a sudden, I don't like it anymore. Why? Hey, it is what it is. So when we talk about the whole thing of disuse, it means non-use, it says abandonment, desertion, cessation, discontinued, and of course, it becoming just totally obsolete. We're just done with it. It's lost. It's whatever. My E, because Jones moved on, she has effective. I have extinguished. A lot of times you haven't extinguished things, the society has, or the creators realize the importance of them just deciding what became more important for them and less important for you. Okay, because they're going to make money on the new thing while you're still holding the old rendition or the older thing. It is what it is. It is. And it says, so to extinguish something is to bring an end to it, to make it where it's no longer either safe or useful or run slowly in terms of its run to being extinct. It's on its way. It's going to eventually be that you don't even need it. It's done. So it says reduce it to where it is totally ineffective. That somebody, effective. Okay. All right. That's good, Joan. Because there it is again. And it says that it becomes ineffective. So in our decision to change to something else, we're looking for something that is more effective. So it says when we're looking at something that we're extinguishing, it says we're putting an end to it, we're destroying it, or they destroy it, they bring it to an end, they remove it from our availability. Like I said, the CDs. How many other things can you think of where all of a sudden you can't find it anymore? There's loads of them. And it says it makes it antiquated. eliminated, abolished, and totally taken away, taken out. Where they say and I don't know if you're paying attention, but a lot of the companies, like I had Cox for my email for years. Well, they stopped dealing with that altogether, and they sold their accounts to Yahoo. Okay. And then Google is now running all the messages through what I had before. So you just see how companies maneuver themselves to be right for themselves and an irritant to you. Okay. Troublesome, worrisome, and then you have to learn a whole new system. Like that's what I'm doing with my messages now. And all of a sudden I'm learning new things that I didn't know before. I didn't know I needed them, but of course they did. My S of destitute is stop. And the word is spelled Desuetude, and I'm not talking destitute, it's destitute. So it's a totally different word, but this speaks to something, just being no longer useful. Okay. Whereas destitute may be that you're just, brokenhearted, sad, down, cannot get yourself together because you're at your low. Okay. My S is for stop. Satisfying. Okay, Joan. Satisfying for Joan. I said stop. That we sometimes are stopped, because they stop making stuff. They put an end to stuff. They make it where you can't find it anymore. It's just not available. In fact, somebody put online the other day that they were looking for Lysol's. It was a Lysol. It was a pump bottle as opposed to it being the spray can. And I haven't seen that since COVID, But since COVID, a lot of things have gone missing. Okay. And let me tell you something. Y'all need to pay attention. The fact that they're on strike at all the ports, there's a lot of things that will not be available. So I recommend that you go out and you get some of the staples that are still available now. But if they stay on strike a long time, they will not be available. They will not. They will not. So I said stop, and I said, therefore, there's an immediate action or end to something, or it might be a slow area to where they stop totally. Because sometimes they do give you warning. Sometimes they do not. So it says cease, to halt, to end, to quit, to discontinue. That's a big thing that they have going on now, where they just discontinue offering things. It says to finish, to cut off, to cut out, to break off, to conclude, and totally discontinue what it is that you need. So they're really looking at how can they optimize on what it is that they do and make you pay for more of what they want you to pay more money for. Because a lot of times they're charging you more money or the same amount of money, and they're giving you less, or they're making it where it's harder to find. So those are the other things going on. My U is so simple. It's useless. It becomes useless. Destitute says that there's a letter in there of U that says useless, not fulfilling or not expected to achieve the intended purpose or desired outcome, meaning that they have decided that whatever we need, too bad, we need it, but they're not going to offer it anymore. It's not going to be available. And so we have to realize that we have to realize that they've made a conclusion for us. They've done their own termination, their own closing. I don't know if you're paying attention that there's a lot of stores that are closing too. The economy, they said, is doing good, but there's still some wrinkles. And the wrinkles are these kinds of things that affect us directly of, strikes. Strikes and less access to things that we are normally use. So that would be like paper towels and tissue and those kinds of things that we need to looking for. My T is for termination. It's just that they've decided to terminate whatever. Let me see what Jones said. It says bananas may be unavailable. Cans of frozen orange juice, a good substitute. Okay, a good substitute. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Whatever you can put on inside your freezers, or I'm not a big canned food person, so for me, the cans don't sing to me at all. However, the fact that I know that if I needed a can of something in here, I have a few. I have a few, but it's not my my grandness of running to the closet for that. My So termination, when we're done with terminating, then we look at our U and our word of destitute. Destitute. It talks about it being undesired, meaning we desire stuff, but when a big business or the creators decide that they're going to recreate, then that means that they've desired to do something that affects us, and our desire is how do we get back into feeling comfortable and being able to do everything that we can do. We either are going to have to adjust or we go without. It's one or the other. So, under desire, especially of an act or consequence, the act is they may change offering stuff, or make it smaller, or make it where it's less available. Remember the bleach? I remember that for a long time. Where you couldn't get chlorine bleach. After enduring at the COVID pandemic, we couldn't get access to bleach. And if you did, it was like a secondary or a third watered down version of what we're used to, which is maybe Clorox. I mean, I don't know. Some people may have used other brands before, but I've always used Clorox because my mother said that's what's going to kill it. I always remember that. Put some soap in that water and some Clorox. And we did that with our dishes. We do that with our dishes. So undesired means not wanted, unwanted, unnecessary, and not needed. When we look at that word, our D for our word, really talks about dormancy. Things are dormant. We can look around and see. Now I don't have any. I put a picture up of those old TVs, and I put a picture up of the old vacuum cleaners. Oh, I remember, when I got married, I just had to have, the state of the art vacuum cleaner, a Kirby. And then I found out how much my husband paid for it. And I was absolutely mad because we got it on like the term payments where you paid so much a month. And it just seemed like we would never get it paid for, even though it was at that time, I think it might have been, $700, $600. Thought it was ridiculous, but it was too heavy. We live in a multi-level home, so it's too heavy for us to even carry it up and down the stairs. It was too heavy for me. So was it useful? Downstairs. Did I take it upstairs much? I'd have to get him to take it upstairs and bring it down. But other than that, no, it wasn't worth the money, the time, or my work in trying to get it to work the way I needed it to. I had too many attachments. I didn't even know what all the stuff was. So that was the dormancy, a state of being temporarily inactive or totally inoperative. And that's what it ended up being, inoperative. In fact, I gave it away. I think I gave it to Goodwill. But dormancy talks about suspension, hibernation, abandonment, latency, all of that. All of that speaks to the fact that we have junk. We have junk that we need to eliminate. But I love the word. I love the word. The fact that we probably just called our stuff junk, but we can call it now that it basically is our destitute. Destitute. That's what we can call it. And my last letter I have says my E is for eliminate. That means we need to get rid of some stuff. And I always talk about this because I know it has been my area where I know that I'm busy, and so I don't always say, well, you know what, I'm not using that anymore, I should give it away. Now I've been going through that these last couple of years and I've done really good with it, but I need to do better. I need to do better. I need to do better. There's just other things in here that people could look. So I'm getting ready to do the shredathon this weekend. Now I bought bought a shredder and I've shredded up a lot of stuff myself, but I'm thinking, hey, I got some old, things with my name on it and bills and all that kind of stuff. Got rid of a lot, but I have some more within the last. I try to keep, things that I might need if the IRS comes a talking or comes a calling. So those I would keep, but I have to do it in such a way that it would make sense that I have certain documents to support my position, especially since I have a little business. But it's not a big business; it's just a little business. But you still have to support why you said this and that and the other thing. So when I look at my elimination of stuff, I'm looking at a reason to exclude things from my possession to prevent the participation of having things just sitting around and considering that somebody else can use it, and looking at that in its instance can allow other people to gain access, use things, and enjoy them. You know, so when I'm eliminating things from my area, I'm looking at exclude, prevent, prohibit. There's some things I don't even let them come in the house. You know, I have a shredder near my front door, so I sometimes shred them as soon as I come in, just because mail can run you crazy. Even though they can't get maybe the regular box or something delivered to you on time, the junk mail keeps coming. And I think people will never go out of not giving junk mail, even though they keep going up on the price to send a first class letter or a box. But anyway, Joan, let's see. Let me see what Joan said. We're not kidding. It was super heavy. That's right. Yeah. Unexpected. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many things out there that are related to our peace. And sometimes we have to just own up to the fact that our junk, our junk, or the things that we no longer use, need, care about. And I try to tell people, don't save it for your kids, because I'm always looking at my daughter and she says, yeah, well, I like that, but. So when I hear the but, that lets me know it's still mine to do what I want to, and not hers to throw away later on. And so sometimes we have to think ahead of time of what the actions may be. We don't even know. We have no idea. But anyway, that's our word for today, destitute. So we want to talk about the fact that, what can I get rid of? What do I really need? What has moved on in terms of the future? How can that play in me not holding on to 15 computers and laptops and all these things that are more just holding up space? That's what it is. But listen, I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Think about what you have in your house. Be mindful about it. Be mindful. And it may be in your file cabinets. It may be, the 15 TVs you have and 2 don't work. Get rid of the ones that don't work. Every once in a while they have that discard day once a year, at least in the city. I don't know if they do it in the county, but they do it in the city, and I love it because every year I get rid of a whole bunch of stuff. And so we had ours at the end of July, and I made the grade. I got rid of some stuff I did. But listen, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be safe out there. And listen, if you don't do anything else, hit the share button. Let this be shared, that somebody will know that others are out there like them. Here I am. I'm here. Love you guys. Be safe. I'll see you on Friday with a new word. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.